In our next step, we are going to like to shift this take up point after this G3S block over here. Now if you just do that, quite naturally 1 divided by that gain path will be our resultant that will be added in series with over here. Now let us just show you over here. Now if you just do shift the take up point in your right hand side for our block diagram. And why do I ship that? Because this is the only way we will like to do required to shift that path over here, and quite naturally this one is going to be our 1 by that gain path, which is 1 by G3s will be included over here. And quite naturally this is our modified block diagram. If you do shift this take up point to the right hand side for our block diagram, and this is going to be our step 4. And naturally you can do see that as these two blocks are present in series, now quite naturally in our step 5 the overall block diagram for this one seems to be our, this one is going to be our H2S H1S divided by our G3S. Now we can erase this block over here because another reduction of our block is being considered over here. Now this is going to be the block in our step 5 over here. Now quite naturally you can see that once again these two blocks are present in series, and quite naturally what is going to be the overall block diagram for that one? The overall block diagram for that one will be our G3S, and this block will be eliminated. Why? Because these two blocks are present in series. Okay, now this is going to be our block diagram over here, and quite naturally you can see that the gain is been, or the block diagram reduction part for this one will be considered over here. And in our next step you can see that this is going to be the signal, and this is considered as our GS, and the feedback path for this one will be our, this is going to be our HS. And once again the closed loop considered part for over here, just by follow this considered part over here, which is going to be the formulation. The formulation for that one seems to be, I'm just going to write down over here as GS divided by 1 plus of our GSHS. Why? Because we have got the negative feedback for this feedback signal over here, and quite naturally the GS will be this one. This whole thing is going to be our GS, and the HS is quite naturally our STS over here. Now let us just do apply that formulation just by using that formulation over here, and let us see what is going to be the formulation for our step 6 over here. Now for that next step we are going to form the step 6 over here. Now what is the formulation for that one? Let us just do apply that over here. Okay, quite naturally we have got the GS. This is going to be our whole GS. Now I'm just write down over here the GS will be quite naturally our G2S G3S G2S G3S divided by our 1 plus G2S G3S divided by 1 plus of our G2S H1S. G2S H1S. This whole thing is going to be our GS, which is G2S G3S divided by 1 plus of G2S H1S, and the HS will be just, or the feedback path for this one will be our H3S. Okay, now what is going to be the formulation just by do apply this value for our GS and HS over here, and let us see what is going to be the formulation for that one over here. The formulation for that one seems to be our, at the place of our GS we are just going to put the GS over here, and at the place of our HS, or at the place for our formulation we are going to put the H3S over here. Just by do follow that procedure we have got G2S, this is going to be our G3S divided by our 1 plus G2S H1s. This is going to be our GS, this whole thing. Okay. Now if we just put that in our given expression over here, this is going to be a GS plus 1 plus our G2s, G3s divided by our 1 plus G2s H1s multiplied with our HS. HS is our H3s. We do require to solve this given equation over here, and in our next step we are going to erase or remove this summing block over there, and that will be our considered part over here. Now if you just solve this given block diagram over here, what is going to be the considered part? The first I am just going to apply or solve the denominator first. The LCM for this one will be our 1 plus of G2s H1s. If you just apply over here, we have got 1 plus G2s H1s, 1 plus G2s H1s plus our G2s G3s H3s, and in our numerator part we have got this whole thing, which is G2s G3s divided by 1 plus G2s H1s. Now if I show the next step over here, now what is going to be the next step? The next step will be this will be inverted over here, G2s G3s divided by our 1 plus G2s H1s multiplied with this will become going in the upper part for our ratio or at our numerator, which is going to be our 1 plus G2s H1s divided by our 1 plus G2s H1s plus G2s G3s H3s, G2s G3s H3s. Now we should cancel this over here, and quite naturally the expression for or overall gain for that one will be our G2s G3s divided by our 1 plus G2s H1s plus G2s G3s H3s. G2s G3s divided by 1 plus of G2s H1s plus G2s G3s H3s. Okay. Now at this overall place we are having this format over here. Now we are going to erase. We have utilized or we have get the formulation over here, and quite naturally just by following the block diagram reduction methodology or just by following the GS divided 1 plus GSHS, that is the ideal format for our closed loop considered part over here. Quite naturally using that formulation, or I have shown you all the steps over here, which is going to be, this is our first step, which is GS divided 1 plus of GSHS. Now in our next step, in our next part for our formulation or for our simplification, we have got this is our next format, and if you just further simplify our expression over here, and quite naturally at the final stage we are having this is our final format over here. Now at this place we are going to having only this block will be present over here. Now quite naturally I am just going to erase this part over here, and ultimately only this block part will be present over there. These type of problems are altogether very easy if you do follow our classes, or if you do follow our Indian brother classes over here, and that is the only way you are going to feel the confidence while solving this type of problems over here. Okay, now inside our block we have got G2S G3S divided by our 1 plus G2S H1S G2S H1S plus G2S G3S H3S will be present over here. Now this is going to be the interesting way to follow this type of classes over here, and I am just going to remind you that this type of problems are altogether easy if you do have the clearer concepts over here, and how to clarify or how to improve your confidence level back, or how to improve your considered concepts over here. Quite naturally the only way you can do follow that just by do follow our engineering brother classes. That is the only way you are going to have the confidence back, and you are going to follow up all those considered part over here. Stay tuned to the classes, do follow our videos. Just wait for my next part. If you like my video, so what are you waiting for? Please do subscribe my channel, hit the bell icon for more updates, and stay tuned to the channel. Thank you and goodbye.